The Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, Pat Gorman. Thanks for your time. The opposition leader in Queensland says it's not federal issues. The results out of Queensland at the weekend. You'd agree with him on that, I guess?
Well, I mean, they're two by-elections, so of course they're about local matters. But I also have seen the comments from Stephen Miles where he's acknowledged that the state government there in Queensland have heard the message from Queensland voters. They expect more. I think voters always expect more of their governments. Sometimes they express that at the ballot box. Sometimes they express those views in a range of forms. But obviously it is, it's a message for the Queensland government. They've put out some signs that they're hearing that message. And I would expect to know less. So we've obviously got two opposition leaders from Queensland. We've got the state opposition leader there, but also the federal opposition leader is from Queensland. I'm sure he'll probably try and tell us that it's all about federal issues. I don't know if he said that yet, but I would expect that that's the sort of thing we would see, which is always looking for a problem from Peter Dutton. Everywhere he goes, he looks for one, and I'm sure he'll find one in this as well.
The Queensland election scheduled for October, so it seems to indicate...
Another great state with fixed term elections.
Yeah, indeed. But it looks like the implications for the federal election would be that the Prime Minister, and to be fair to the PM, he has said he's going to go full term, which means March, April, May next year for the federal election. But that would also make sense politically because you get that Queensland result to wash through before you then go to the polls federally.
Well, I'll leave you to think about what it means in terms of the timing of elections. Obviously, Queensland does have an election in October. The Queensland state government have acknowledged that is going to be a tough election, but they're in that fight to win it. And I know that Stephen Miles, he's only been in the job a few months. He's already making his mark on Queensland, already trying to get things done for Queensland, acknowledging they've got more work to do. But I remember, they have been in government 9 years, but I remember the last government. I remember the Campbell-Newman government and what they were like when they were in office. I think they sacked about 4,400 health workers, about 10,000 public servants in total, sacked by the last LNP government. They were trying to privatise assets left, right and centre. It wasn't a great government. It only lasted one term. There was a reason that it only lasted one term. And I think it's just worth remembering that you always want your elected officials to deliver to the absolute best of their ability. But the last thing you'd want is to go backwards. I think that's the real risk.
Tasmanian election is this Saturday, the last Liberal government in Australia, last one standing for the moment anyway. Do strategists within the Labor Party, Paul Erickson and others, look to see just how the Labor brand is travelling, even though it is a state election?
Oh, look, I'm not going to speak on Paul Erickson's behalf, but I'll say in terms of what I look at when I look at the Tasmanian election, I think there's a real focus from Rebecca White and the team on cost of living relief for Tasmanians, obviously recognising that people are doing it really tough at the moment. That's a pretty hotly contested election. They've got an expansion in the size of their parliament. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. I'm sure sometime on Saturday you'll have someone explain on this program or on your election coverage the Hare-Clark system, something that I think only about 3 people in all of Australia fully understand. I'm sure you'll have one of them on this panel explaining it for all of us. But look, it'll be interesting for Tasmanians to have their say. I wish Rebecca and her team all the very best. But again, I'm a West Australian. I know that when we have state elections in Western Australia, they're about state issues. I think Tasmanians are pretty parochial in a similar vein. They'll be voting on what's in the interests of Tasmanians.
And our viewers saw on the bottom of the screen there the promo for our People's Forum with the Premier and Opposition Leader at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. So make sure you join us for that as we take the questions to undecided voters and see what they think.